When did you realize gang members were great people? He refused to pay me. Now he helps me out with anything I want. During my freshman year of college, I landed a job as a server at a nearby bar and grill. The city where my school and job were located had consistently ranked among the top 5 most dangerous cities in the US for about a decade. Coming from the nearby suburbs, I was quite sheltered. I couldn't help but believe that the crime rate was exaggerated. But, strangely enough, being naive and not understanding the real danger I put myself in probably saved my life on more than one occasion. One day a party called into the restaurant requesting a table for 18. When I came in and looked at the list of reservations, I got excited and requested to serve them. My manager allowed it since all the other servers got annoyed whenever given a party over 6. I stopped picking up other tables about 20 minutes before their scheduled arrival and had everything prepared. The time arrives and in comes the group. All young Puerto Rican men and ladies in their late teens and early 20s. There was one slightly older gentleman probably in his early 30s. They were all in a matching color scheme. Me being the person I am thought, oh, how nice. Their coach or mentor is bringing them out for a celebration. They weren't exactly wearing uniforms, so I ruled out sports. I thought perhaps they were a debate team or math Olympics. Something of the sort. In my eyes, they were obviously demonstrating school spirit through the color scheme of their attire. I go up to the host stand and greet them with a beaming smile. I only slightly notice the weird looks on the faces of my coworkers and other customers. I introduce myself to the older gentleman, who is clearly the patriarch, and show them to their table. They all seem to be in good spirits, so I say something about how they must be celebrating a victory and congratulate them. The patriarch kind of smirks and says, "Yeah, I guess you could say that, haha. Thanks." And then we move on. I get them their drinks, take their orders, bring their food, refill drinks, refill wings, and so on. Once they are finishing up, the patriarch asks for the check and I happily hand him the book I had already put the printed check in. Now this restaurant had a no separate checks policy. Stupid, I know. Also, customers are made aware of this policy, as well as the automatic gratuity for parties of 6 or more, when they call in a reservation. They are reminded of it when they walk in at the host stand and during the introduction by the server. It is also printed in very large writing on the first page of the menus. After I handed him the check, he says, "I'm sorry I forgot to mention it, but could we each have separate checks?" While I am reminding him of the policy, his phone rings. He says, "I'm sorry but I must take this call," then hands the check to one of the young ladies next to him and tells her to take care of it. He tells me he'll be right back and goes to the vestibule to take the call. A few minutes later, I see them all getting up and heading to the door. I tell them to have a nice night and run to the table so I can collect the money. I look everywhere, but nothing. This restaurant has another policy. The server, being me in this situation, is responsible for your table's checks, whether they paid or not. Yes, I know this isn't legal. But guess what? The owner didn't care about that inconvenient detail. But there was no way in hell I was about to pay this table's check. Something else about me, I have a psycho mode. At this point, I run from the back of the restaurant to the front door and get there right in time to block their exit. I give them an obviously fake smile and announce through gritted teeth, "Hey guys. I think you forgot to pay your bill." The girl that had been left in charge responds, with attitude, "You wouldn't separate the check. We all have cards." Me, matching and exceeding her attitude, "I guess it's lucky for you that there is an ATM right next to you, and that I am excellent at math." Every single person in this restaurant is looking at me, with expressions of disbelief. This little 5'0" teenager standing up to what I still don't realize is a gang. I'm convinced this girl and I are about to throw hands. Then the patriarch, my savior, returns. He gets in between us and asks what's going on, and we both start yelling our versions of the story. He again stops us and pulls the girl to the side, and starts cursing her out in Spanish. A coworker later translated it for me as something like, "Are you stupid? You could have brought attention to us and got us caught. Over a $500 check? Are you for real? I told you to take care of it, so do it. Dumb woman, I should make you pay the entire thing and tip." He then looks over the check and tells them all that if they knew she hadn't paid, they were just as stupid as her. He instructs them to line up at the ATM. One by one, they get out money and hand me whatever amount the guy tells them to. Meanwhile, he's making flirtatious small talk with me the whole time like, "What kind of accent is that? How can you be Indian when you look Puerto Rican or maybe even white? What would your parents say if you brought home a Puerto Rican guy?" And finally, the question that made me aware of what I had done: would they accept me if they knew I was upper management at an organization? Just cause it's a criminal organization doesn't mean I'm not an entrepreneur, right? As we are both laughing at this, it hits me. This isn't a team from a school. He is not their teacher or coach. They are a gang and he is their leader. I try to act natural upon discovering this and the conversation continues. He thanks me for treating them like people and tells me I'm crazy and he likes that I'm not afraid of them. He then asks me to see how much I made from the table to make sure I was tipped enough. I count it up and realize I've made $230 off this table. I ask if I should give some back as it is a lot. He says absolutely not and hands me 3 more crisp $100 bills. He then hands me his number and tells me to call if I ever need help with anything. He then says that if I were 15 to 20 years older, he'd insist on a date. But his daughter was there, who turned out to be the girl I nearly fought. He would be afraid she'd tell her mom, his wife. And also, it wouldn't be right to date someone his daughter's age. Then he smiles, tells me good night, and leaves. I did end up calling him about a month later. I had locked my keys in my car and AAA said I'd have a 2-hour wait. I thought his skills might be useful in this situation. True to his word, he was there within 15 minutes. He mentioned my tires looked torn and asked if I was on my way to work. I was. Walking out to my car that night after my shift, I noticed there were 4 brand new shiny tires on my car. After that, he became a regular customer. Also, strangely enough, his daughter and I are now great friends too.